And our lovely guest star,
Kelly Gaylor.
How you doing, Kelly? What's that?
She can't say my second name.
Kelly Gaylor.
Gaylor.
Gaylor. Like the beautiful Gaylor, yeah. What a beautiful,
Like
whatever.
Taylor, but with the...
Oh, that's right.
G.
We decided that.
Before, yeah.
You got to go down. These are lovely little dogs. They're so cute. Anyway, so today, put it down. We're going to be talking about a thread that come up on Facebook, and this is not to be in any kind of negative way, and we want everything we do to be educational and not to be negative or putting people down or what their faults are. So this was regarding the thread that came up about force-free grooming.
Yeah.
So and the thread was about people that don't use restraints at all, and I know a lot of people actually that don't use restraints at all, and this has nothing to do with me not liking it because of my belly straps or happy straps or neck straps, and no matter what. But I like to think of it as more of an educational thing to say to people, we've got to be careful what words we use. Mm-hmm. So what's your thinking? What's your thoughts of it?
Let's get this out of the way. My hair, I've just taken my plaits out. Yeah,
so now it looks like, I love it. It's like curly, kind of.
No, who did you call me?
No, we can't say that on live feed.
Oh, right. Okay.
So yeah, so what do you think when you hear the word force-free grooming? What do you think?
That the dogs are just allowed to. Me personally, and this is me personally, it just sounds like the dog's allowed to do whatever it likes.
See, to me, force-free sounds like to me that you do a dog, and if it doesn't like something done, then you're not forced him to have that done, which I would agree with, because I don't promote anything like if a dog doesn't like its nails done, you don't have three people. You've got to make sure we talk louder because of the rain. We don't have three people to hold it down, do we? No. We allow that to, allow the dogs to get away with certain things. What about you, Kelly? What do you think?
I was just saying that I think the wording is wrong, because I think if you're saying I'm a force-free groomer, it kind of makes, as an owner, I think that would make me think, oh, do other groomers force dogs into things?
Apply force, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I think restraint-free grooming is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because if you've got a dog on the table, we've all been there when they've just kind of like, a leg has done that, or, it's some dogs walk past and it's tried to lunge for it, something, and if you haven't got anything in place, I think that could be quite dangerous. And
also, I think about the first thing when we go to grooming school, what is the hardest thing to do? Handle dogs. Yeah. And the first thing normally what people do is when a new person grooms a dog and the dog gives them a hard time, they go, oh my God, what do I do? And they take their hands away from the situation, when you should have your hands on the situation. And I know after 30 years of grooming, from me keep on picking up the dog, my hands hurt more than anything. Because, in this industry, we have equipment that helps us with grooming, like hydraulic tables, electric tables, hydraulic bathtubs. We are given all these tools as aids, and I would love the words being used as grooming aids. So when we use a safety strap around a dog's neck, I don't even like the word strap, or a noose is even worse. But anything safety around the dog's neck, or a belly strap, or a hammock, these are aids which help us in the grooming every single day. So I think, and there's lots of words, and I don't necessarily think that these people are bad people. I think when we start a business, we think of words or different things we can put on our website to set us apart from other groomers, like cage-free environments, fluff drying, hand scissoring. So I mean, back when the day when people used to come in and say, "Oh, you don't have them death cabinets, do you?" Mm. And I'm thinking, well, drying cabinets serve a great purpose when used correctly. Do you ever thoughts on that? Can't have a drink yet. Is that alcohol in there?
No.
Yeah, there is. Yes, there is alcohol in there, but that's okay because we're at home. So what's your thoughts?
My thoughts on things. I've had customers come in and they haven't liked me having the happy strap on and the belly strap on when the dog's on the table. They've gone, look like that. And I've had to explain it like you wouldn't put a child in the back seat of a car without a seatbelt on, without giving it that security and that safety.
No, I wouldn't.
So me personally, it's a safety issue.
And it's also, I talked to Heidi earlier on, and she's a huge advocate for this, and she said, you know what, you might as well just walk down the street have your dog with no leash on then. I mean, could you imagine these two walking down the street with cars driving past?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think they do have the table down low,
Yeah.
like the lowest it can go, so it's not like the dog is gonna fall off, is what my understanding of it is.
so the table's down low, so you're going to actually have a kill him back in about 10 years
Exactly,
then.
that's the thing, isn't it?
So yeah, so I mean,
you can't expect, if you're gonna bend over or be on your knees all day, to be your career forever.
who would want to? You know, I mean, that's crazy. You know, I mean, I don't know how the people feel out there, but any questions or anything you have is, I mean, we're open to questions, and I don't want this to be a slag it off match
No,
because, you know,
anyone that doesn't.
yeah.
If there's anyone out there, then just shout out.
Absolutely. I mean, if you do, if you're for the word force-free, we want to get your opinions because I'm all open for debates and, you know, so on and so forth.
If I didn't know anything about it, I would have thought force-free grooming meant like what I do, where if a dog doesn't want anything done, I'll try for a few seconds, and then if it really doesn't want it, it doesn't have it done.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's no point in making its stress levels go through the roof
Absolutely.
for a nail. So that's what I think the word kind of feels like it says that. But
Well, yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
it is.
You know, I think, and we've had these issues for, you know, it's not just this word which people have come up with questioning. There's other words too. You know, when it comes to catering environments, when people think, you know, and normally in the UK, because groomers groom one dog at a time and they go home, that's fine as a catering environment. But if you have a shop full of 20 dogs and you're grooming dogs at the same time and you don't have a person to aid them 20 loose dogs, that's not good. And I think you know, everybody should remember. But you know what? Animals are unpredictable. You don't walk into a lion's cage just because you're a lion tamer and say, oh, this dog, it's going to be fine today. You know, like the gorilla on TV with that young boy. You know what? Then people had to have known the temperament of the animal to do what they did.
You are given responsibility when somebody hands their dog over to you to take the utmost care of that dog. So, you know, you hand it back and it's okay.
Absolutely.
And it's
Absolutely.
happy.
You know,
and so, you know, as groomers, we can't afford to have things go wrong. And I mean, I've made mistakes over the years, and one of them, I had a poodle that I'd been grooming, standard poodle, for many, many years, and she came in one day, and the table was down low, and I had her on there, and I'd been blasting her in the bath, and I put her on the table, and I switched the blaster on, and for some unknown reason, she jumped off the table. She fell onto the floor and she chipped one of her teeth. And I had to tell the owner this because I thought, you know, he might not notice, but that dog might be in some kind of pain tonight, and it's up to me to make the owner aware of it. Now, that's a dog that I've been grooming for years. She'd always stood on the table, never had a problem with her, and it was that one time, for some unknown reason, she jumped off the table and slipped on the floor. Luckily, the table wasn't high, because it could have been a lot worse.
Absolutely.
Because the thing, when they get older as well, they kind of do this a bit, don't they? And it only takes a little paw off the end of the table.
Absolutely. And, you know, and like I said, you're constantly doing this with your hands. And when it comes to aids, grooming aids, and just like the Groomers Helper also, you know, Chuck Simon's called the Groomers Helper that for a reason, because it's to assist and help the groomer. Now, some people may not like them, some people may love them, some people swear about them. It's, you know, and that's fine to think that way, but the way I look at things, as I do a lot of educational things these days, I look at my audience and I don't know, you know, now I do, because before I start my talk, I find out how many people in the audience, their years of experience. And because I know I'm probably dealing with a lot of people there who've been grooming for under a year, and I don't want to teach them something that I'm not sure but they're 100% confident on. And handling, it comes with experience, doesn't it? It's not something you pick up just like that. So I think when people saw the subject on Facebook, they, you know, immediately went in there with different ways of thinking. But I think we have to think it a bit from a safety point of view. Making sure that the dogs are safe.
I also think if somebody really wants to groom that way, that's fine if they have one dog coming in at a time and they've got their full concentration on that dog, and they're in a small area and, you know, confined area, then maybe it could work.
Mm-hmm. But you know, but my whole issue is about the biting thing too. And you know what I mean, even myself, when a dog goes to bite you, it makes you jump. When a dog's had a hold of you, the first thing you want to do when it's got your thumb in their mouth is to pull away, and you got your hands up in the air like, oh my god, it hurts, and then that dog's gonna immediately jump off the table. And so I know a lot of talented people out there that groom without any kind of aids, and they're incredible groomers. And I know some of them teach that way also, and I know some of them don't. And I know, take Master Groom for instance, you know, every single dog has to be on some kind of aid, grooming aid, around its neck. I don't promote using belly straps in the ring, because that dog shouldn't be in the ring if it's that uncomfortable.
My competition dog, I have to use a belly strap, because if I touch him underneath, he tries to hunt my hand.
Oh,
so he has a belly strap.
Yeah.
I had an Airedale do that to me too once.
Yeah.
Is there any questions, Ed?
Yeah, we've had one from Jackie Ratcliffe, who says, would insurance cover an injury to a dog if it wasn't secured?
Well, that's a really, really good point. And you know what? This is where, and actually, that's the good point is, which would be a very good another subject. How many groomers do actually carry liability insurance? And that would
everyone. I can't imagine anyone grooming without insurance.
Well, you'll be surprised how many people.
I would.
Yeah, but
I'd be surprised.
Well, but I mean, would that cover? You know what? The question would be: does the insurance companies know that kind of information to ask?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
You know what? So, and hopefully the groomer would be upfront about exactly how the incident happened. But once again, and I'll say this, and I've said this for years, when you take a dog from an owner, you can undermine that animal and nobody knows anything about it. And that's a sad reality, isn't it? We've all seen stories in the book, in the paper, on the news, and so people bring their animals to us with the assuming, but we are going to treat them like they're part of the family, and we should. You know, I mean, I'm not saying we talk to them all day long and we take forever, but they're there to be groomed and they go home. And when I used to teach City and Guilds, for instance, to the students, what is the number one thing we teach them? We talk about assessing a risk, don't we? Mm-hmm. So we teach them, if you see a risk, what do? You want to try and stop that from happening, don't you? And that's my biggest concern is a technique, because it is a technique, being taught to people who may not be at the level that person who is capable of doing it at. You know, so, and I know as a teacher, and with me, I've seen lots and lots of horror stories with people not paying attention, or because they've got so much things to think about, and the dog is the one who takes the brunt for it. You know, so I think it's really, really important. Any more questions, Ed?
Nothing so far. A lot of people agreeing with you about, you know, they wouldn't themselves do it, but
I think as well, if you set yourself up, if this is your big seller, force-free grooming, and then if 5 years time you get busier and want to do more dogs, there's no going back from that.
Exactly.
You can't then go, oh, force-free grooming is the best way, we don't use restraints because they're bad, blah blah. Oh, but now actually I am going to use them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Same with cage-free. Cage-free, we promote this because this is that. Oh, actually no, we do use cages now. You can't really go back on that.
You know what? And you know, and I think you're right. And I think it's one of them things where, and speaking of cage-free or cages, I like the dog to be. I like to know that dog's safe. I want to know that dog's, you know, they're safe. I don't want to wonder what that dog is doing. There could be something in the shop that may be on the floor that may not shouldn't be on the floor that the dog may pick up. Dogs are like kids; they pick up anything in their mouths, don't they? So it could be anything, and we have to think about that.
I use both systems. Some dogs prefer to go in a cage, and they come straight in and want to go in a cage. That's great. If I have a dog that doesn't want to go in a cage, I do have areas which I can put them to, so they are free to sort of wander around.
Well, that's what Heidi did too at Absolute Animals when I worked there. We had the eye hooks in the wall, so the dog had their area. They couldn't get into each other's faces, but it's far enough apart where, and that is a cage-free environment. I mean, and I think, you know, that could be open for interpretation, can't it? you know. So, but like I said, 9 times out of 10 we're solo groomers, and the dog comes in, we groom it, the dog goes home.
It's about reading the dog and what the dog's happy with. Like some dogs are happy with the shower in the bath, quite happy. Some dogs really don't like that, so I unscrew the shower head and do it another way, or use just a jug if they really don't like it. So it is a case of just reading the dog all the time, and I think when you do that, you know, everything's happy and calm, and the dog's happy and calm, and my day goes so much better.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the same goes with muzzles. There are a lot of people out there that won't use a muzzle. And you know what, to me, first of all, if a dog comes in and it needs to have a muzzle on it and you think you cannot do it, don't do it. The next thing is, can you get the muzzle on the dog? Because that can be a challenge in itself. Because you've got the string in your hand and the muzzle in between, you're trying to get it on the dog's mouth, and the dog is biting you all the way up that string in it, and it's trying to get your hand. And, you know, and to be honest, I've always said, at least with the muzzle on, the dog is going to be, I cannot get bit. Sometimes they can even push it up, but you've got to be really careful.
I always give them the benefit of the doubt. I always put them on the table, see what they're like, and see if I am at risk. Because you've got to be able to read dogs, and this comes down to dog handling again. Is you know, watching the body language
and reading it
and
10 seconds beforehand.
Yeah,
That's why I wrote the course that I do.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people just concentrate too much on the perfect breed trim, and don't and don't put enough emphasis on how to read the dog,
Absolutely.
how to handle the dog, and when to call it a day as well.
Yeah. You know, I know in like in my book, the slogan is "good enough," because I thought the same way you were thinking, where people are like, "Oh my God, I can't get the perfect Westie head." I'm thinking, you know what? Make that a goal, but who cares right now? Make sure the dog is stable on the table and it goes home and it looks okay. It hasn't got to have the perfect Westie head yet. This is a learning game, and you know what? Just like handling, just like scissoring, just like hand stripping, you are going to be on a continuous learning journey. It's never going to just suddenly end and say, I know everything now. It's not going to be, like that. So, any other questions so far?
I thought you did know.
I don't. No, I don't. Surprisingly enough, I thought I knew everything.
you tell
too.
us that.
Yeah.
You tell us that all
Well,
the time.
no, I don't.
You do.
She's been drinking, so she's getting all cocky and funny.
Anything else? No, quiet.
Can we
There's
have
really
some
quiet.
questions, please?
How many people are viewing? Does it say?
63.
Oh, that's really good.
Come
You know,
on.
and I think it's one of them subjects where, you know what, I was debating whether to do this or not. And I think, you know what, it's not about slagging people off. It's not about saying but what they're doing is wrong, but it's about educating the people that are thinking about doing it. Think twice before you do it. Because you can run into problems. You can run into issues, and it has nothing to do with, when it comes to my belly straps, I don't teach people to have them on the dogs 24/7. And actually, it irks me a lot when I see people on Facebook with belly straps on, and it looks like the belly straps cut the dog into two. You know what? They're there as an aid just to have under the dog's belly, so when the dog does go to sit down, it stands back up. But only for the time you need to use it, like on the rear legs or stuff like that. You don't have to have it on there 24/7. You try not to laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, bless her.
No.
She's just being weird. That's okay. So, but anyway, a little other question. I'm going to go on to another subject before. On the 11th of June, we are going to have a mock/exam at the, you don't know about this, do you? Yeah. It's going to be in Frome, Somerset. It is 6 weeks before Super Groom and all the other shows throughout the year. So it's going to be in Frome at the Assembly Halls behind the theatre in Frome. So this is for people that are thinking about competing, thinking about certifying. If you're thinking, oh my God, will I crack under the pressure? Will the dog be good enough? Will the dog behave on the table? What would be a pass on a Westie or a certain breed? Or if you're looking at competing, And so there's not going to be any placements like we did with the Francine and myself did a seminar up a little bit up north. There won't be no placement, but there will be fun placements like naughtiest dog, the best trim foot, best clipper work, so I want people to think about that. That is on the 11th of June, which will be a mock competition. You'll all have a certain amount of time at the same time. There'll be categories, a year and under, 3 years and under, and 6 years and under. So it's really about getting the people out there that haven't competed to get in there and compete and have a little bit of
Can you not
confidence.
certify when you do it?
Um,
I think you need to have have some kind of?
I think they
certifying
will
about
be able to certify. So we can do a separate little category of people just for certifying dogs. So Angela Kaylee can come in and certify them dogs. But I think it's really important. But you know, the people that are kind of thinking, you know, would this be a good certification dog? They can get that honest answer and also get some really good feedback. So the morning will be all mock examination competition rules, and then the afternoon we'll be doing a workshop on the dogs, what they've done in the morning. Very similar to what we did up north. So that's on the 11th of June in the Somerset area, and it's going to be held at the Assembly Halls in Frome, which is real close to home too.
Any questions?
Yeah, you've got one back on the force
Yeah.
grooming from Emma Gooding. She says, today I got bitten by a dog and it hurt. Being a Shih Tzu, it was hard to keep the muzzle on. The dog was getting itself in the right state, so we popped it away for a while. At what point do we say enough is enough to the owner, and how do we word it so it doesn't upset the owners?
Well, you know what, there is no ways of, sometimes you've got to call a spade, and I've sent dogs home with the body trimmed and the face looking like absolute hell, because you know what, I'm not going to get there.
I think a lot of people as well put the owner's needs before the dog. You need to put the dog's needs before the owner.
Yeah.
I don't care what the owner thinks. I wouldn't force the dog into doing something.
Absolutely. You know what, how many times have you heard, because I've heard a lot when the owner says, oh, don't be so silly, just do it.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what,
Give
no,
me a
I'm
little
not.
slap.
Yeah, give me a little slap, and I'm thinking, you know what, no, I'm not going to do that. You know, let him, you know, because once again, we all have our dogs which we know are evil, and they are little.
That's probably why they are.
Grumpies.
Because they've been treated like that in the past.
And also, they've been to groomer, to groomer, to groomer, to groomer, to groomer. That's the name of the magazine. Let's not plug in Todd Shelley at all. But you know what? It is about, you know, you saying, okay, where do I draw the line? You know, and I try to think about the dog's welfare first. And I'm like, you know what? If I don't try, it's going to go to somewhere else. And then that's going to go to somewhere else. And which isn't fair either.
No, but I think people think that if it's not, and especially new groomers, if I don't do it, no one's going to do it.
Absolutely.
But that's not the point. That's not the case. There's always someone who is better experienced, better
Absolutely.
qualified, or has a sideline behaviour that can modify that dog.
Absolutely, yeah. You know,
So it's never the end of the
yeah,
road.
there are people out there that specialise in this, and I think when you take the soft, you know, not the too soft approach, you've got to say, be very, very, you know, you've got to say what you say with conviction and say, look, Benji just does not like this. This is an issue that he's going to have for a long, long time if you do not take, you know, get this under control. Because there are some dogs out there that literally will never ever adapt to being groomed in a positive way, and that's when you got to say, look, it is what it is. It's going to have a half-ass groom, and it's maybe the haircut may get better, but it may not, and you have to be realistic about it. And once again, when I think groomers push it to the limit, that's what I would consider forced grooming, when you're trying to do something which the dog isn't ready for and you're not also ready for.
I think a lot of the times, the owners don't want to step up and bring it in as often as it needs to be done.
Absolutely.
So if there was a dog like that, then I would say, right, we're calling it a day. Why don't you come in once a week, and we'll just do a little bit,
I agree.
do a little bit more, but they won't.
I agree, and
Or
also,
or use food when every time it comes in, because that's what I do.
But if you, it's called trigger stacking, where say like they came into the grooming parlour and before they've even walked in, they know what's going to happen, so they're stressed, and then they get put on the table, they might be scared of heights, and then it goes up again, and all these different things make their stress levels go through the roof. So you've got to stop before they get to that point. So if you get them on the table, just give them a little comb through, then they can go home. And it's like, oh, thank God for that. And then every time they come in, they're not going to think, oh my God, I'm going to be subject to this, that, yeah.
I mean, sometimes even let them walk in and walk around the salon and have a smell things, and you know, do little bits here and there.
Treats and stuff, yeah.
Absolutely, you know, and you know, try and make it a positive experience, and you know, and also tell the owner it's really important, but they relay a positive rapport to that animal on that day. Don't say, we're going to go see Kelly at the groomers and have it with that voice, because the dog's going to be like, screw Kelly, wait till I see her, I'm going to make her life hell. You got to make it positive. And also, you know, I've had a lot of people send me a message saying the owner called me up to say they're not happy because I had to shave down their dog, and they said, but the dog is really depressed and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, oh, for God's sake, you know what, that's, the dog does not feel that, that's the owner. I call it guilt. You know what, or you know, it's like, get over it, the hair will grow back, and you know, the dog's fine, but also be positive about it. You know.
I think also you've got to consider yourself. Because it can drain your confidence having a nasty dog on the table.
When you first start, you get them all, don't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you've got seriously bitten, if you're self-employed, you're buggered. If you can't work, if you can't put fingers into scissors, and if you can't work, so you've got to consider all angles. It's
For
not
people
just
in
about
America,
the
don't
dog.
look up buggered because it won't come up as nice. Yeah, but you are, but you know, and that's very true. The good points are when you are bit, buggered.
What's it mean in America?
Yeah,
Well, the same thing it
mean
means, but the same buggery is not a very good word at all. But you know, it just goes to show. But it's true when you're bit by a dog, and then the owner picks up that dog, they're mad at you.
Yeah.
You got to take a week off of work. You got to move all them dogs. And you know what? That customer doesn't give a rat's ass. That's why you got to be very, very strict with the customers and say, look, Buffy is not enjoying it. Buffy's having a hard time with this.
Got issues.
You know what? We have to work with this. And like Kelly said, have the dog come in more often. It could be on a weekly basis. It could be on whatever it may be, and make it a positive thing where it's like gives the dog something to look forward to as opposed to dread. You know? Look at these two. Little babies.
Any questions, Ed?
Yeah, Suzanne asks, I guess it's referring to the mock room, will this be annually?
This will be annually, absolutely. Yeah, we put it on in June because, and this is not a competition. It never will be a competition, but it will be like I said, mock, so you could actually go and get some confidence. And it will be annually, and like I said, it's 6 weeks before Super Groom. Oh yeah, you tell her. Oh, you're a baby. I told you.
Dogs.
You a little baby. You tell him. Doesn't like you. You know what? It's that hair. Look, I know it's not a. Is that a nest on her head? More than babies. So what? You want to take little Eddie back?
Eddie?
Ed.
Oh, that's my boyfriend.
Oh,
Sid.
What's he called? Sid.
I bet he's been in my kitchen.
I bet he has.
Left you a little present.
Left me a little. He does it every time.
What?
He goes in my kitchen, leaves me a present.
Oh, you
You
go.
love your Auntie Linda, don't you?
Make sure you have your hand on that dog.
That's not-
You're very cute. You're very cute. So, any other questions, Ed?
No, nothing yet.
Nothing yet. So, what time is it?
5-2.
Oh, it's 5 since we've got another 5 minutes. What else would you like
We
to
can
talk
talk
about?
about my courses if you want.
Let's talk about your courses. So tell us about what you do.
Okay, so I have developed or written and now present courses called Certificate in Compassionate Handling. So look up the Facebook page. And yeah, it's basically about what we've been talking about how to handle dogs correctly, how to overcome behaviour problems, how dogs feel pain, and how their behaviour affects the grooming process. A lot of it's to do with fear as well, so we talk about a lot about fear and things like that. And now I feel really on the spot, so I can't talk about anything.
Why? Well,
I don't like going
okay.
forward.
So tell us what how they can get in touch with you.
Okay,
They
so
want
I've
to
got a Facebook page, Certificate in Compassionate Handling, or you can find me on Facebook, which is Kelly Gaylor, Gayler. I'm the only one special at that. Or you can email me, kellygaylor@icloud.com.
So they
So
can.
the courses are, I've got one in Southampton, Devon, Wrexham. I'm doing Grimsby College. We've got 45 people. So
All right, that's awesome.
yeah, so they're getting really popular. So if you wanted to come,
Or-
just give me a shout.
Well, what about if somebody wants to have you in their salon?
Yeah, you can do that too.
So if you have a salon that can fit 20 or more people,
Yeah.
contact Kelly, and then you can work out the deal with Kelly. Oh, it's okay. Don't you want? You want to go on the floor? There you go.
Oh.
Oh,
Look
you're
at
such
you.
so fragile.
Yeah.
Because the other one's like whatever.
I think
Look
he
at
does-
her, she's
he
like-
does- he's scared.
She's fine. Anyway, so I hope that guy's covered on. Like I said, want to keep it positive. Always think before you do things. If you have any doubts or any issues with what you're doing, always look at once again the risk. What could happen to that animal, and you want to try and cover that risk at all times. But thank you very much, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.